Universal Mastery. So what's up, ladies and gentlemen? What I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to a very practical level so that you can use them and incorporate them in your day-to-day life and get real actual results. Okay, everything about this is to get real results. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is an ongoing series that I have that is called the Tunnels of Set. So today the tunnel that we are going to be talking about is called Yamatu. So we're going to be covering the tunnel Yamatu. You're not going to be able to find any of this information anywhere else on YouTube. Right now, I believe I am the only channel that is covering this. Once again, this information is coming from the book that has been written by Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant was one of the foundational occultists who was under Aleister Crowley back in the day. He had a lot of knowledge about the tunnels of Set and was one of the first people to really start talking about it or talking about them. He's no longer alive right now. So I'm sure he would love to have the information spread about his knowledge, and that's why I'm sharing this information, because it is very knowledgeable. There's a lot of knowledge that he has in this book, and I want it to be out there. Personally, I've worked through all the tunnels of Set myself, and I think it's important that this information gets out there. And I already understand that these videos, these Tunnels of Set videos that I'm making don't get a lot of views at all, but that doesn't really matter to me. What matters is that there are going to be some people that are going to be initiating into the occult, and it's going to really be foundational for them to have this knowledge at their availability. And I know when I was going through the initiations, I would have loved for there to have been a YouTube channel that was talking about these tunnels. So that's why I'm here right now making these videos. And once again, I think it can really help people evolve. They're going to be in the future professional occultists. So yeah, other than that, once again, we're going to be covering the tunnel Yamatu, as I said. So if you want to know a little bit more about this tunnel, then stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you go and you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content. Some of that content is going to be geared towards actual spiritual practices that I perform on camera, and I teach you how to perform them yourself to get real actual results. And what I mean by that is to teach you how to have more spiritual awareness, to have more psychic protection, and to have more occult power. So for example, I have a video where I teach you how to do an invocation, which is completely foundational when it comes to actually being an occultist and learning how to utilize occult forces and how to, you could say, integrate them into yourself and take on their power. So I have a video like that specifically, and I teach you how to perform it and how to do it. And I do it myself so that you can see me do it. And then the other bit of the videos, that's just one. I have other videos where I teach you how to do other practices. But then the other bit of the videos are going to be geared towards educational entertainment, which is similar to a video like this, where the videos, this one in particular, the Tunnels of Set, is very educational. This is advanced knowledge. But it's also a little bit entertaining too. If you're into the occult, you're going to get, you're going to find this entertaining, because this is very valuable and unheard of knowledge. I mean, really, so many people don't know about this. I mean, this is just like, this is advanced. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave that at. I have that kind of content on my Patreon. It's not on my YouTube channel. Where you're going to be able to find the Patreon is if you go to the description, you're going to click that drop down. It's that very first link at the top. It says My Patreon right next to it. In order to gain access to the Patreon, to the exclusive videos on the Patreon, you have to at least be a tier 2 member or up. In order to be a tier 2, it literally costs $9.95 a month, and that is a reoccurring payment. So if you do the math, that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that, especially with the value that I have on there. Honestly, with the value I have on there, I could raise my price a lot, but I want that knowledge to be available for people that invest in themselves. And that small price of $9.95 shows me that you're going to be taking it that much more seriously, and it shows it to yourself as well. And yeah, I mean, I got some advanced knowledge on my Patreon. So $9.95 a month. And then as you go up in tiers, the benefits increase as well. So I'll let you check that out for yourself. And with that being said, I would love to give a special shout out to the top tier members of the Patreon. Their names are going to be mentioned right below that Patreon link. Okay, so huge shout out to you, ladies and gentlemen. And other than that, let's go right into this video. So here we go. So Yamatu, so if you're new to this series of the Tunnels of Set, then definitely make sure you start at the very first video, which is Proteus. It says path number 1. This is going to be path number 10. Yamatu is 10. Go back to number 1. Work your way all the way up to 10 in order. Okay? It's very important that you do that because I break down the foundation of what the Tunnels of Set are and why they're important in the beginning videos. Okay? 1, 2, and 3, I believe. Okay? So other than that, let's go right in. So Yamatu. The 20th tunnel is under the aegis of Yamatu, whose name should be intoned in the key of F. In lower register with the signing or murmuring undertones. His sigil should be painted in yellowish green on a silver of gray slate. His number 131 is the number of Samael, a name of Satan or Set as a guardian of the threshold. It is also the number of Pan and of Baphomet, the idol adored of Templars, MKVNIH, meaning her foundation or fundament. A symbol of the Ketis also adds to 131. Note that 131 plus 535, the number of Ketis, equals 666, the number of the beast. This is confirmed by the fact that Mako, the son of Typhon, also adds up to 131. The sigil of Yamatu is a secret cipher of Set. It exhibits the introverted cross, which signifies the downward passage or crossing into Amenta. The astroglyph of the 20th path is Virgo, and its threshold is the Ketis of the Virgin guarded by Samael. Its magical formula is that of virile force reserved, i.e. Kareza, which comports a buildup of sexual energy for magical purposes but without final release. This is a perfectly legitimate magical formula and one which may be used in connection with the formula described in connection with the previous Kala. It is also a formula of the Black Brother and was used by a curious cult having its headquarters at Harvard, New England, in the 18th century. Andrew Rothovius writes of this cult, led by Shadrach, Ireland, who had come from Charlestown with a woman he called his soulmate, Abigail Lugim. It was a reaction to the aridities of the prevailing Calvinism, but with overtones suggesting that it drew on some survivals of the witch cult that had gone underground after Salem a century previously, calling itself the Brethren of the New Light. It advocated celibacy, mutual confession of sins, and a withdrawal from the people of the world, who were soon to be done away with anyway. By the powers from outside, the elect, however, i.e. the members of the cult, the members of the cult, would then attain bodily immortality in the flesh. Those who died before needed to have their bodies preserved on platforms of the stone, from whence they would arise living and breathing when the hour struck. Interesting. Immortality in the flesh is one of the aims of the Black Brother. The idea arose not only from the natural urge to protect the ego from the impact of death, with its consequent disruption of conscious identity, but also from a misinterpretation of the doctrine of the death posture, exemplified by the cult of the mummy in ancient Chem. In this connection, Michael Bertox, writing on astral machines, refers to magicians who endeavored to achieve immortality on the astral plane. He observes, instruments like this insulate against the changes of time, and it has been known that such instruments have been used by occultists to preserve themselves or hold themselves on the astral plane against the onward tide of evolution. Magic favored by occultists who habitually haunt the tunnel of Yamatu. Narcissus, the flower ascribed to this tunnel, yields a key to the nature of the formula of sexual magic associated with it, which in its dark aspect reflects charisma as a sterile spending of magical force. This is confirmed by the letter Yod being regarded as sacred to Yamatu. Yod means a hand, and to this tunnel, Kabbalists ascribe the order of Qliphoth, known as the Tasphirion, meaning the scratchers. The light or secret seed concealed within the body suggests the idea of invisibility, and this is the magical city attributed to this ray, as also is Parthenogenesis. The work of the Black Brothers thus belongs naturally in the tunnel of Yamatu, where the seed, split in a sterile act, renders the body bereft of light and therefore invisible. It was the object of the New Light sect to retain the light within, thus defying death and achieving immortality in the flesh. The deity ascribed to this ray is Hor-Par-Krat, the Egyptian original of the Greek god of silence and strength, Hippocrates. He was frequently depicted on the monuments as a child squatting upon a lotus with thumb or forefinger, both emblems of the phallus, pressed against its lips in the mudra of not uttering a word. The relevant verse in Liber CCXXXI repeats the above ideas. Also, the priestess veiled himself, lest his glory be profane, lest his word be lost in the multitude. The tarot trump attributed to this ray is that of the hermit who carries the lamp and staff, symbolic of the hidden light, or the light expressed in darkness. He is the magus of the voice of power, but in his Qliphothic reflex he becomes the utterer of the word of death, imprisoned in the corpse. And not permitted to realize its identity with space, cosmic consciousness. To be trapped in this tunnel is to suffer the death in the petrification. To be trapped in this tunnel is to suffer the death in life of petrification. The typical disease is paralysis, and the inclusion of all anaphrodisiacs among the list of vegetable drugs ascribed to this ray again suggests the anti-vital nature of its sterilizing influences. Alrighty, so that's going to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. Also hit the notification bell because I post videos as often as I can. And definitely make sure you subscribe. I love to see my subscribers go up. I'd love to have you a part of the team as well. Or community, whatever we want to call it. And that's going to wrap it up. So without further ado, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.